Hello and happy pre-Super Bowl 58 Friday from Radically Rational and radicallyrational.com. Okay, two things we know. Vegas can put on a show and the National Football League can put on a show, and I thought the NFL awards and honors last night were pretty much perfectly done, and I think they got the awards right. First of all, the Texans sweep in Rookie of the Year honors. C.J. Stroud on the offensive side, Will Anderson Jr. on the defensive side. The future's so bright. I was hoping D'Amico was going to get Coach of the Year, but I must say this, I understand why they gave it to Kevin Stefanski because he had to work with 5 different quarterbacks, so I didn't have a big problem with that. Offensive Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey, check. Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, who can argue with that? So Lamar gets his second MVP and becomes the youngest quarterback in NFL history to have 2 MVP awards. Remember, he won it the first time back in 2019. I don't have a problem because it's a regular season award. I also don't have a problem with the fact that Dak finished second because it's what? A regular season award. Man, Cam Hayward, just the perfect choice for Walter Payton Man of the Year, which really is the biggest award out there. Hall of Fame class, I was just delighted for 2 guys in particular, Andre Johnson, because what he meant to the Houston Texans and getting that franchise off the ground, and Randy Gradishar, the veteran Broncos linebacker, so long overdue. His credentials unassailable. I don't know why this took so long. I've had the pleasure of having several conversations with Randy, arranged through a mutual friend, and he is a wonderful human being. The other Hall of Famers, Julius Peppers, Dwight Freeney, Patrick Willis, Devin Hester, he can take that thing to the house, and Steve McMichael. And we're hoping the best for Bam Bam because he's facing a huge health issue right now. All right, now for Sunday's game itself. Andy's place in NFL history is obviously already secure, but this is a big deal to Kyle Shanahan in terms of how history is going to judge him. You remember they blew a couple of NFC championship games. They lost that previous Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And of course, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons when they blew that huge Super Bowl lead against the Patriots. All right, so I'll give you my full game breakdown tomorrow, but here's one key. Can the Niners get consistent pressure on Mahomes using only 4 rushers? Because if they can do that, they're in pretty good shape. But here's the rub. The Niners defensive front did not play well in either of those earlier playoff games against the Packers and the Lions. One more football thing. The Cowboys got it right in bringing back Mike Zimmer as defensive coordinator. That was the right choice. All right, on the news side. If you were listening to the oral arguments yesterday regarding the Supreme Court and the whole 14th Amendment thing and whether Trump can be on the ballot, it's pretty clear where they're going, and it could be a unanimous decision. Here's the deal. The court is trying to look non-political, and if nothing else, I do appreciate the effort for a change. I was always kind of skeptical about this whole 14th Amendment claim, not because Trump is not an insurrectionist. He clearly is. But just as a procedural matter, how are you going to make this work? And how can you make that stick absent a conviction, which of course we don't have yet? So get ready for further chaos. But on balance, it appears to me the court is going to get it right on that one. Put him on the ballot. Let's see what happens. Now, here's the other deal. On the other hand, all right, Trump is appealing the lower court ruling that he has no immunity. That's going to the Supreme Court as well, assuming they take the case. They may not. But if they take that case, that better be a 9-0 affirmation of that lower court ruling that he has no immunity, because he has no case whatsoever. That is absurd. And of course, yes, he is an officer and an official. All right. So there was special prosecutor Robert Hur trying to have it both ways yesterday and talking out of both sides of his mouth. And I thought it was completely insipid and insidious. So he says he's not going to bring charges against Joe Biden for mishandling classified documents. Okay. But then he goes on to say, well, the only reason is I don't think we can get a conviction. And then he goes on to either imply or in some cases outright state that it's because Biden is an older gentleman with a bad memory and that would make it impossible to convict. You can't have it both ways. Now, the one thing I don't want to hear, and of course we're going to hear it because they'll always leverage this, they meaning the cult. I don't want to hear any crap about a double standard of justice or inconsistently applied justice. Don't even start with that. These two cases are not comparable in any way. But I will say this, Biden's age is an issue. Here's the deal. So is Trump's age. We're not in a good position right now. Now, I got special scorn for Elise Stefanik and her statement yesterday that Mike Pence did the wrong thing. And if she'd been in that position, she would have blocked certification. And then she goes on and perpetuates the big lie that has gotten us in this mess and abyss in the first place. Folks, we love our country. We don't always agree, but you love your country. I love our country for sure, but we're not going to get out of this crap until the big lie is put to rest. Overall, though, I must say it was a pretty good day for Donald J. Trump, except for one thing. A judge says you still owe E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million. Happy Super Bowl weekend. See you tomorrow, and I'll make my pick.